Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the fourth and final day of 4 years from now, 2025. I mean, what a 4 days it has been as well. I mean, we've seen a huge focus on AI this year and how it can help accelerate startups. That theme actually is going to continue on this stage this morning. We also had the 4 Years From Now awards last night, where we saw Vanquish take home the big prize. And we've got another big morning ahead. There's lots going on outside, so we can only thank you for joining us here and choosing to spend your morning, at least a bit of it with us. But just to let you know what else is going on, we've actually got upstairs at the moment our very first silent session. So if you fancy putting on some headphones and getting involved with one of the pitches, that's up on the founders stage. And at 11:15 today, on both the founders stage and the pitching stage, startup founders, can take to the stage and do an open mic pitch. It is literally no slides, just a microphone, and 1 minute for you to sell yourself. So if you fancy getting involved with that one, you can head up to the founders stage or the pitching stage ahead of 11:15. My name's Louise. I'm really delighted to be with you today, and I think we'll bring our focus back to this stage for now, because we've got 4 fantastic panels on the way. And the first, we're bringing that focus back into AI with a session on not another AI talk, the human side of innovation. So please join me in welcoming on stage to take you through this panel. It is the founder of No Bullshit Company, Jorge Araujo, a Plus partner and co-founder of Plus Partner, Enrique Linares, and CEO of Lucia, Alberto Martinez. Please put your hands together. Hello, hello, welcome.
Thank you.
Please take your seats.
Hello.
There we go, make sure we're under the right names. Yes, we are. Brilliant. We'll have a fantastic session.
We're good to go? Yes? Ready? How are you, everyone? It's a little bit difficult here. I was afraid that having this talk at 10 a.m. in the morning is going to be a challenge, but hopefully you all got your dose of caffeine in your body. So, well, Álvaro, Enrique, when they asked me to moderate this talk, I want to create something a little bit different. That's why it's the human behind the AI. So for someone that is here that doesn't know Lucia, or doesn't know you, why is it important for them to hear what you have to say? What's your journey so far in Lucia?
That's a huge responsibility. The journey has been absolutely crazy. Lucia is a personal assistant. We help millions of people every day, especially young people in LATAM, with anything ranging from their homework to learning new languages, or even, why not, some people are alone and need to talk to someone and need advice of someone, and Lucia is there for them. Why this could be relevant? It's because we suffer a lot to get here. It was, everyone said, a roller coaster. I think that's it's an underestimation of how crazy these few months have been, or 2 years have been already. And I think I have a few things to share there.
How many users do you have worldwide?
So right now,
to grasp an idea of the impact.
Right now we have around 65 million users worldwide. In all of our channels, we have our own app and also WhatsApp and Telegram, and so 65 million. We should be probably one of the largest one worldwide. For sure, we are the largest one in LATAM for young audience.
So 65 million. Let's grasp a little bit. That's like
more than the population of Spain,
and a little bit more. No,
yeah.
It's like it's amazing.
Yeah.
So you can impact a whole country if you want.
Yes.
Yes. What are the key milestones of Lucia and of this journey so far?
So I would say that the most interesting one is the fact that we were able to outcompete many of the big players in the industry in a terrain or in a place where they were investing hundreds of millions, even billions of dollars, with very limited funding. We raised to date around $33 million, which is not a small amount, but it's a small.
That's not that limited.
It's not unlimited.
Okay.
But we were able to outcompete them, and I think that was the key milestones that we have. And we've been able to do that because from the very beginning we got a very clear target. We're going to be focusing on distribution. We're going to focus on people. This technology is going to change the world. This technology is going to change how people learn, how people grow. And the technology is going to be a commodity. Therefore, let's focus on putting in front of the users a good product. So that's one of the things that was key achievement, key insight. The other one, something that I'm really, really proud, is that I think we managed to create at Lucia, and this has kept me awake for a long time, a very good, intense culture in which, like, I always say that we want to be the best place to learn about AI in Europe or in Spain, and that helped me like push the team to really innovate, to really be scrappy, to really be able to make big bets and win like super large competitors. So that culture that we managed to create, which is not easy and has to be intentional, is something that we are also very, very proud.
And Enrique, he's one of the founders of Let Go. It's a huge company, huge impact, and also investor in Lucia. Right?
Yeah, I'm a board member of Lucia. I try to help Alvaro and the team in everything that I can. And let me take this. I mean, it's very impressive what Lucia has achieved in only 2 years. AI is the most competitive vertical by far on technology. And you already mentioned that you didn't raise so much money compared to your competitors. But also what impressed me a lot is that you did that from Spain, right? That's a very extraordinary case. And from Spain, you have been able to win many different markets. How has been that decision? Why did you decide to be global? Where are the main markets of Lucia? And if you are facing any challenge doing that from Spain to other countries?
Yeah, because this is no bullshit, Panet. I'm going to be super transparent on this one. We launched from Lucia. We launched from Spain, and that outgrew our plans. I have an anecdote with my other two co-founders, Carlos and Javier, where the day before the launch, we were joking, what would make a good launch? 100 users, 500 users, 1,000 users, and we were like, 1,000 users. Within the first 30 minutes since we launched, we were able to do almost 10,000 users. Everything became absolutely crazy. So it's not that we started the company thinking that we're going to be in Spain. It's like, we launch, and then we always say, build the plane while it flies. Now, with those cards on the table, now we need to figure out, what is the best way to do this? And if you break down a little bit of what are the implications of being located in Spain, we can say, what are the implications for the day-to-day, for fundraising and relationships, and for hiring. For the day-to-day, like, the challenge is that we need to be involved with the markets where we have presence. Like, we were going to be launching in Brazil with a big marketing campaign, and we were putting to Lucia, we always dress Lucia with a t-shirt of the soccer team in the country where we launched, and the PR agency that we had in Brazil was like, don't do that, because that has political implications, which we don't know, or we didn't know. So that, like, it's something that we need to close the gap. We close that gap by hiring people from those local places and by trying to be as much on top of what happens there as possible. Fundraising and stuff. We were lucky. We managed to close investors from Silicon Valley relatively early, and that gave us access to the whole Silicon Valley ecosystem, even if we were not there. Now we can. We need to go traveling, or we need to travel quite often to San Francisco to keep those relationships. And finally, and probably we'll talk about this more later, but regarding talent, I think we have very good talent in Spain. And we've been able also to import talent from other places, and we managed to build a good team. I don't have a counterfactual. I don't know if the company would be 1 more zero in valuation if we were in Silicon Valley, but we managed to put it together from Spain.
Did you ever consider to move yourself or move the team? Has that been on the table? Because your main markets are Latin America, right?
Yeah. We should ask the wife, no? First.
That is something that we discussed a few times, and I discussed also with the board and with the investors. I think at this point, we managed to do everything we need from Spain. We're going to build and open an office at some point relatively soon in Brazil, because it's our largest market, and culturally, they're also more different than the Spanish-speaking countries in LATAM, so we'll put people on the ground there, but we're managing to handle from here. But it's a conversation that is always on the table.
It's interesting also, you're in the in an industry, in the segment, with titans, no?
Yeah.
OpenAI, Meta, China, Russia.
Everyone.
That's why you say that 35 million is little money compared for the battle that you are trying to win. Was there any moment that you felt, fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a very real moment, actually. There is this person that used to work very senior in Meta that one day, a couple of months after we launched, published in his own personal Twitter, "This is the best launch Meta has ever done. This changes everything. Congratulations, Mark. Congratulations, Javier." And that was referring to us. So we DM him and say, "Hey, thank you for your message, but we're not Meta." He responds, "Let's jump to a call." He's like, "Mark is going to close you." he doesn't respond to my messages, and that's not good. At that point, as I mentioned before, we launched in WhatsApp. We launched in WhatsApp because we wanted to make it super universal, super accessible, but we were not really sure that was against or not the T's and C's of Meta. So we were like literally scared, and after that one, it felt very, very, very real. And from that moment on, we knew that, like, okay, we were doing something, we tapped into something. Large companies were looking into us, and we were like, now we need to compete them, and how do we do that, right? And the mental model, the idea that we had from the very beginning is that big companies, they're slow, they're bureaucratic, but they have hundreds and hundreds of people for the same thing that I have 4 to 5 people to do the same project. So they're going to get slow, but they're going to get there. They're going to get 1% every day, and they'll end up reaching us. So we need to make big bets, and we need to be bold, and we need to be, as I put it in a blog post, is we need to play it smart. Like, there are things that we cannot invest or we should not invest. Now it's easy to defend, but 2 years ago, we were super clear, we're not going to be doing our own LLMs. And at that point, everyone was like, why not? Like, it makes sense. And it's because, I mean, I wish I were Sam Altman. It's probably very fun, but I don't have the talent, I don't have the capacity, and I don't have hundreds of billions. So, like, we need to focus on what we really believe that is going to make a difference, and that was distribution. And that's how we managed to handle that pressure of the big ones.
It's interesting because the distribution is primarily WhatsApp, right?
No. We launched in WhatsApp. We grew super viral, but one of the critical milestones of the company's do or die moment that we had was last year when we migrated the users from WhatsApp into our own app. Mostly because we were able to control the experience. We were able to give users a better experience, but also because Meta was really, really expensive, and we needed to do it. Right now, more than 80% of the users are in our own app.
And also, you mitigate the risk of Mark saying, "Let's kill Lucia," no?
Yeah, now it's an official use case, now, but there was some doubts at the beginning. Yeah.
No, and in fact, it's very impressive, Alvaro, because you are one of the very few companies that survived that period, right?
Yep.
Of the companies that grew millions and millions of users, that has been alone and keep fighting and keep growing and managed to migrate from WhatsApp to an app that is a completely different experience. I mean, with that, your numbers have been great and your rotation also grew up.
Correct.
And I have a question related with that, and it's the challenge of monetization, right?
Yep.
We all use AI tools constantly. And we can use AI, like fantastic AI, something that 1 year ago was impossible, and we don't pay anything, right?
Correct.
So there is a big challenge to monetize AI. If you are Sam Altman, probably that's not a big issue. It will be in a few years, but not now. Now you are just focusing on growth. And in the case of Lucia, I assume that is also an issue. How do you see monetization on AI and the challenge of growth versus monetization?
So my view on this one is that it will get to a point in which it will be obvious. If we think about the internet, like now it's obvious that someone had to invent the feed, which is the obvious way to present a lot of content on the internet, and then you can put ads on that one. 2000, no one figured out that. And the other one was Google. Hey, the way to put ads and search is the way to go for advertising online. What we were doing in the 2000s was basically replicating the same monetization models that we had in the previous, and that didn't work. And I think we're going through a same period in which we need to figure out the way to monetize this one. And if you think about monetization, like, you cannot monetize what you don't understand the value you are creating. Many of our competitors die because they jump into putting a paywall, which was the obvious thing to do, very, very early. And that is good at the beginning, and many companies got to 1 million ARR very, very quickly, but then suddenly realized that, hey, I'm not really generating any differential value to the users. The users stopped paying, and the company died. And that There are a bunch of examples in the market. So we were like, OK, let's take some time, let's raise some money, and use this time to really understand the value we are creating and how we can think about capturing part of that value. As the technology has been progressing and improving, the value has also increased. The amount of value that people get from Lucia now is not comparable with the amount of value that had at the beginning. At the beginning, we were purely doing audio transcription. I'm pretty sure that someone in the audience has used Lucia for audio transcription. Now we help people during the whole day. And that gives me more opportunity to grab the value. Now, how I grab that value, which is the second question, there are different options. And my strong belief is that although at this point there might be trade-offs in between growth and monetization, there is a future path in which if I'm useful for the user, there are ways to capture the value, like being part of the transaction. Let's say someone wants to go to Japan, ask Lucia for recommendation, and Lucia not only put ads, but maybe books the flight. We're not there, technology is not there, we'll get there. I can grab value from that transaction without doing a worse customer experience, actually generating value to the user, which will allow me to continue growing. Luckily for me, as I mentioned before, we have 33 million. It's not the amount of money our competitors have, but it's enough to continue pushing on growth until we've managed to figure out how to do that technically and without impacting user experience.
It's interesting to understand. What do you think is the pain point that you solve for the users? And why did you decide also to look for these users in Latin America? And also one huge parenthesis, it's Latin America, Spanish-speaking, and Brazil. Because it's like people usually say Latin America, it's like, OK, that's one country, and it's like different cultures, and Brazil is something totally different. But what was the pain point that you decided to solve with Lucia, and why in Latin America?
So to be super honest, it's not that we launched trying to solve a pain point. We launched with the view that this is changing the world. I'm using it every day. I don't want anyone to fall behind that. First user was my mom, and literally that was the whole purpose of the company. Is my mom cannot fall behind and not know how to use this technology. And we can talk more about that later. But we put it in front of the users without knowing what the users will use it for. Like, it's not like, hey, we target specifically companionship or education or traveling. There were people at the beginning that was using Lucia to take care of plants, which is fine. It's something that we can help with. So we were super agnostic. To my point before, is we didn't know the value we're going to generate. We know that that can be useful for it, but people needed to create the habit because in their mind, assistants were Siri or Alexa, and those are terrible. They are good for putting music and setting alarms. And I'm actually bad at those two things. So we needed to break those mental models of people and let people figure out how this can integrate in their lives. What was actually a deliberate decision is that this is a universal technology. Everyone can use it. It's extremely accessible. I don't think any other technology ever before is so easy to use. Like if you put someone that hasn't seen a computer ever in front of a computer, they don't know what to do with it. But if you put it in front of Lucia or ChatGPT with the voice mode, their own product is going to be the one teaching you how to use it. Like it's extremely inclusive. So we were like, OK, let's make it worldwide available. And because we had limited resources, once we started seeing traction in these markets, Latin America, Spanish-speaking and Portuguese-speaking countries, then we focus on those ones. We closed the other ones. We don't have unlimited resources. We needed to focus our bets and grow those markets.
And how did you did this, like, go-to-market worldwide and then focus in just one?
So the go-to-market worldwide, we basically did a lot of social media. I mean, we did a combination of a strategy of classical PR, which I wasn't super for that one, but it was a moment in which there was a lot of hype, and it was so easy to get impacts that worked out very well. Kudos to my co-founder on that one, who pushed me in there. And social media. Social media allow us to spread like virally. We did the first million users within 50 days, which is faster than 20, Spotify, all these companies. And when we launched Brazil, we did the first million users in 4 days. It was absolutely insane. Now, this refocus was in a time in which we started to have a lot of traction in Africa and some parts of Southeast Asia, and it's like we cannot understand all the markets at the same time. And I remember actually having a conversation with Enrique, I don't know if you remember, we went for lunch one day, and he's like, you need to focus. You need to...
Great advice.
And that advice was critical for us, and then we refocused. It was painful because we had to drop on like one day to another one, we dropped 40% of our DIUs, but it's what got us here. Like that focus is what got us here. Now we have more resources, we can expand to more countries, but we had to do it at that point.
Yeah, and a question, if we go to the talent side of AI, right?
Yeah.
That's the topic of the discussion. You are in the hottest area of the tech world right now. You are probably or by sure, the AI company with more users from Spain, right? And you are fighting for talent with lots of other startups that are starting to do AI things. The amount of talent in the market is not so high, right? So you really need to fight for the engineers, for the best prepared people. And doing that, considering that Spain is not your main market, so your brand in Spain is very high among the ecosystem, like everybody knows Lucia if you are part of the tech world, but not so much if you are like
Correct.
a regular person, right? You're much better known in Latin America than in Spain. So how has been that fight? How did you create the best possible team? How do you keep them on motivated? How do you see that part? And how do you see the future related with your team and the impact of AI?
So from the very beginning, I mean, I need to differentiate in between different types of AI talent. Like if you want to find engineers to build the next frontier model, I cannot compete there. Like I think it's impossible to compete in that. I need a lot of money, and I need to be based either in San Francisco or London because DeepMind was there, or Paris because Meta had a research lab over there, and that's why Mistral is there. So I'm not competing for that talent. So if I'm not competing for the talent that is training the models, what I'm competing is for good engineers. And when I launched Lucia 2 years ago, I mean, this was new. Like, I couldn't find engineers that have done this at a scale. I think we were one of the first companies in the world to have to deal with millions of users at a scale and downtimes and all the problems that came with that one. So we shift our mentality, not trying, and we bet for those talents for a while, but we stopped, that wasn't working. We shift and we decided, like, what we need is people with ton of curiosity and ton of raw power. And that is scarce, but you can find them. And the rest is something that we take internally, and we train them, and we teach them, and we give them opportunities. They always come with this idea of, can you give me a training on generative AI? No. I don't believe in those trainings. Like, you're going to have to deal and handle like hundreds of millions of users. Like, that's going to be your training, and we're going to have to figure out together. So I think we have created that culture of intense people that work very hard, that is very smart, and that can get to learn what, like, other people has not had the opportunity to experience yet. So my like long response to say that we could not compete with the Gen AI labs that wanted those AI engineers. What we did was actually focus on super high caliber engineers that can adapt and learn this technology, because as I always said, the technology can be a commodity and we can plug from one place to another, and what I need is smart people that can understand that. And that's been our strategy, has worked out well to this point. We'll see how we scale.
So we have 6 more minutes left. I want to stop speaking about Lucia right now and focus in Alvaro, in you. I guess, bueno, you see a lot of threats and a lot of opportunities, but what keeps you up at night? What's the thing that usually takes your sleep away?
I might be, I mean, there are a lot of threats. We could talk about the threats. But the threats don't keep me awake at night. We deal with those ones, and we've done it relatively well so far. For me, what keeps me awake is that this is a completely new paradigm, new technology, and I see like almost infinite opportunities everywhere. And I have what Americans would say FOMO, in the sense that, like, my obsession is how do we make the best out of this opportunity? And I'm 38 years old, and I've seen a couple of other revolutions, but none of those ones feel like actually this one. And that FOMO, that idea that, hey, we cannot miss this wave, is my real concern. It's like, how do I make the best out of this one? Because the world is changing, and it's changing really, really, really fast. And I think we are not even aware of how far this is going to change in a few months. So that for me is the main concern. It's not the threats. We'll deal with the threats. It's like, we need to make the most out of this.
That's why Enrique's advice to focus, it's really useful, no? And can you share with us a really tense moment that you had in the past, in these years, that you want to share with other entrepreneurs here?
I could share 100, because it's been really, really intense and tough. My wife used to joke, hey, how many life-changing calls do you have this week? And literally they were like, either the company die or
No
doesn't
pressure.
die.
No
like,
pressure.
it's like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I have a high tolerance to pain. We actually, we have an operating principle internally that we used to call enjoy the pain, then someone that is native speaker came and said that has some connotation, so we changed it to embrace the pain. It sounds better.
It's better.
The whole idea of embrace the pain is that I'm like no bullshit to anyone. Like this is really, really tough, and Lucia is going to be tough, but it's also fun. And I don't want people that train for a marathon just to take the picture at the end of the finish line. I want people that enjoy the training. I want people that like enjoys the going at 8 a.m. on a Tuesday to do 400 meters. Like that's the type of intensity I need. All that to say that the bad moments are probably not the ones.
One really tough moment.
But I'm going to give you one. I haven't shared this one publicly, and it's not that obvious because it was a good moment, but it speaks about the whole pressure about the environment. So I was pitching to Sequoia. It was final pitch, 7 partners in the meeting. There was no IC after one. It's 7 partners, super senior people that you read newsletters, people that you read their articles, people that you admire. I'm pitching them. I do the pitch, I nail it, it goes extremely well. They don't even make me wait, they make me an offer directly in that pitch, and I negotiate with them indirect in the pitch, and it was amazing. It probably should be a dream comes true. I hung up the call, because it was a Zoom call, and I had a panic attack. And I don't understand why. Like, doesn't make any sense. I should be happy, but it suddenly was like, oh shit, like, hit me so hard, and that was, I mean, I take better the pressure than that kind of situations, and that really, really, really hit me. I never had a panic attack in my life. Then I calmed down, I
breathe,
understood what I just made, and I was good. But it is tough.
Well,
thank you for sharing.
Yeah, sometimes you need people from outside, no, that tell you where you are, man, and you're doing an amazing job there, and that's why all these positive things come. I have a question for you that is super recurrent. What is coming next for people with AI, right? You have 2 kids, 3 and 6 years old. How do you prepare them for a world where AI is going to have a prominent role, right? It's going to be involved on everything we do. Yeah. And also, how should we prepare ourselves, right? Like, if you are 30, 35 years old, you're going to have 30 years with AI, working with AI. What are your thoughts there? I mean, you're in a privileged position. So.
Yeah, so, I mean, you asked me for what keeps me awake at night. This is one of the things that keeps me awake at night because I don't have a good response to this question. I think a lot about that one, especially for my kids. I think I have a little more visibility on what's coming in the next few months, but not in 2 years, 5 years, or they're 3 and 6 in the next 12 years. I have no idea. But I know AI is going to be there. So the way I approach this problem with my kids, with my employees, with everyone I know is you need to get used to use AI as much as possible. And there will be use cases where it doesn't make any sense. You try it, you're wasting time, fine. And there will be other cases that are stuck. And the more you use it, the more ready you're going to be for whatever comes next. And we don't really know what is going to be coming next. One of the things I do with my kids, and they have internalized the fact that they have Lucia or ChatGPT voice in order to ask any questions, to teach them concepts. Like, instead of telling me, I need to Google this, they say, can we ask Lucia? Like, we need to make it super natural because they're going to be living with that one. And to put an anecdote, my small one, he's 3. The other day, he came out to me and said, can we play a game with Lucia? And I was like, yeah. So he started speaking with Lucia, and he's like, Lucia, give me a prompt. I think it was about playing animals or something like that. It's like, for them, it's so natural that I think is what we all need to do. Like, we need to take off that fear of AI is going to kill us, it's going to take us all of our jobs. I think that's negative. That's a negative view of the world. AI is going to have challenges, but it has a lot of opportunities, and we better get used to it because it's not going to go anywhere. And that's how I approach this problem.
To end the talk today, for someone that is starting or looking to start an AI-driven startup, what would be a no bullshit advice in 2 seconds?
Obsess. Like, this moves so quickly that it needs to be something that you enjoy and obsess over it. like you need to be on top of everything that is happening, and that's a lot. So you need to be obsessive and intense. That would be my noble trait.
Bueno. Hope you enjoy the talk, the human behind Lucia. And thank you very much, Alvaro, for your time.
Thank you, Alvaro. Thank you very much.